Hi everyone, I'm making a journal cover today and I thought I would turn on the camera and show you guys what I've come up with. I hope you like it. Happy Saturday! I know we've been working on the back to school journal, but I am also trying to get a couple of covers done so that I will have something to work on going forward. So I have been working on this cover, and I thought I would turn on the camera and kind of show everyone the idea that I've come up with and where this one is going. And after I get the cover done on this one, then I will go back to the back to school journal and finish it up. For those of you that have been following me for a while, you probably have heard me say that I usually have about 3 projects going at a time. And so this will be one of those. The school journal is coming to the end, and so this is me getting started, ready to start on the next one. So I also mentioned in the last video that I don't do cutesy Halloween, but I kind of do some things that are a little bit on the quirky side, or on not creepy, but just a little different. And so that's kind of where I'm going with this. Although it's going to be a fully usable journal for anyone, and it's very nature inspired, it is going to have some kind of little quirky things in it, which I think will make it interesting. So this is just a book that has been taken apart, that I had both covers, and the covers were in fairly good condition. So I decided to use it, and I'm going to make this one a 3-ring as well, like we did on the back to school journal. And this is my progress so far, and I'll kind of explain to you what I did to get to this point, and then we'll finish decorating the cover, and I'll put the covers together so you can see what it's going to look like. So like I said, this was just a regular book cover. It was already black. I did paint over the whole thing with black gesso just because I wanted a really matte surface. Let me take these pages I have stuck up in there out of the way for the moment. Okay, and I'm trying to stay in frame today. I had someone leave a comment on my last video that I got out of frame, and I apologize for that, and I'll try my best to stay in frame today. Sometimes when I look at it on my phone, it looks fine, but then when the video goes up on YouTube, it cuts it, and so I haven't quite figured out why that happened yet, but I do apologize. Okay, so the first thing I did was I just painted the cover with black gesso so I'd have a nice matte finish. I want this to be really grungy and look like that it's has been carried around forever. And my idea here is that this journal belonged to a really quirky naturalist that went out and made a lot of field notes about different things, animals and plants and birds and all kinds of things. And he was kind of, he or she was kind of haphazard and messy, and just really obsessed with going out and finding all these really cool things in nature. And just use this notebook to take notes and make drawings and stick stuff in. And so the papers are going to be, a lot of them are going to be torn, they're going to be really worn, they're going to be written on, they're going to have you know, little hand sketches of different things. It's not going to have a lot of color. A lot of the pictures that I have picked to put in here are actual sketches that were in a book of plants and animals and birds and things like that. And I'll kind of flip through those when we get the cover done. So, I wanted to get a really grungy cover, and I took crackle paste, Tim Holtz crackle paste, and I put it on through a leaf stencil. That was my first step, and you can see that there is a leaf stencil on there, and it is crackled. I was really happy with the way that came out. And then I painted everything with the black gesso to give it a layer. And then I took several colors of my spray oxides. There's some mowed grass on here. There is some antique linen. There is some hickory smoke. There's just several colors. And basically I squirted them on and then took a paper towel and kind of dabbed it and dried it, squirted it with water to get, you know, what you're seeing here. There's also, and you can't see it as much on the front as you can on the back, I used one of his, what are these called? The metallic sprays, the mica sprays, in that kind of coppery color. And it is sprayed on there as well, and it just gives it, and I hope you can see that, it just gives it a little bit of a shine here and there. And that kind of reminded me of a folly, you know, kind of woodsy tone. But I'm really happy with the way that it came out. It has a lot of texture, and it has a lot of grunge, and I'm sure you can't see that as well on the camera as I would like for you to, but it is quite grungy. And then I poked 3 holes for the rings to go through, and I'm using this size of ring, and I'm not sure what that is. Looks like it's about 1.25 inches. So I'm going to use 3 of those, and I did put the grommets on the front, and that's not for any reason other than I wanted kind of the metal to continue from here to here. And I've got some other little metal pieces that I'm going to use as well, and it was just really to kind of tie it in. It's not necessary to put a grommet. You're definitely going to have enough strength to use a ring if you're using, you know, thick enough material. And you can see this is a regular book cover, so it's quite thick. And then on the inside, on the front and back, this is out of a nature guide book that I had, and I just tore a page out and cut it in half, and that's what I'm using for my front and back. I thought that was really a nice combination between the blacks and the greens, and so we've got that going on there. So now we're going to get to our quirky cover. And what started this was this picture. This is a guy, and I'm sorry I didn't write down his name, and I would never be able to pronounce it without it being written down. But this was a guy that actually was a person, and he, of course he was a person, but he made these really morbid drawings of things that were embalmed. And a lot of them were animals. And the story goes that he actually had these in his study or whatever on his shelves. But I couldn't really find out if that was true or he just did these illustrations. This one is one that to me is not that disturbing. It's a bird. I loved the way that it looked in the jar, and I loved these plants coming out of the top, and so I picked this one. He does have some that are like baby armadillos and, you know, other animals that are more disturbing. I'm sure some people like that kind of thing, but anyway, I picked this one because I like it. I like the way it looks. I think it's unusual. It's a little bit quirky. And all I did was printed it out in black and white because, like I said, I don't want a lot of color. I backed it with some cardstock and I sprayed it with tea dye. And then I used vintage photo on the edges. I put this little twine around it, and it's got a little thing that says specimens on it. And so that's going to be our focal point on the cover. And then I've got several little bitty pieces here that I've already inked up and stuff, so you wouldn't have to... oh, look, a bug escaped. That several of the little pieces that I'm using are out of Tim Holtz Snippets, the field notes group of things, and that little bug must have escaped. So as usual, we're going to create some different levels and some textures on the front cover. And then once I get everything in place and decide where I want it and I get it all glued down and it has time to dry, I'll go over everything with matte medium so that it has a more permanent excuse me, a more permanent topping on it so that it, you know, will wear better. So I'm going to kind of, excuse me, goodness gracious. I'm going to kind of lay this out. There won't be a lot of the showing, which was my intent. I just wanted it to be back there so to create some depth in what we were doing. The intent was, you know, for that to not be the focal point, for it to be in the background. So when we get all this stuff on there, there won't be a lot of it showing, and I'm fine with that. So this is just a piece of corrugated cardboard that I have grunged up, and we're going to put it on here like so. And I do use this quite often. I love the texture that it gives, and I love the look. So, and then I've got some just cheesecloth that I have grunged up that's getting caught here, and kind of spread out, and you know, made it more stringy, kind of spooky looking, creepy looking. And I'm going to put that there, and I'm going to trim it off a little bit. And trim it off here. And then I'm going to do the same thing over on the other side. I could have put it all the way under, but that's just wasting stuff. So I'm just going to give it the appearance that it's all the way under. And again, stretching it out so that it has a real grungy kind of look. And this kind of, you know, is nature-y to me because it kind of reminds me of bird nest or, you know, that kind of thing. So that's why I chose to use this. And then I have just some pieces of twine here, and this is off of, and I'm tying this in because I'm going to use that to tie around my rings, but it's just this, and I just pulled the strings apart. And this is it comes on a roll, and you use it like a ribbon for like wreaths and stuff like that. But when you cut the things off, see, you can pull these strings right off. And so I just pulled some of those off, and I'm just gonna kind of bundle them together and stick them under. And this kind of reminds me of, again, bird's nest or twigs or something like that. So I'm going to stick that under there just to give us a little bit more texture, like so. Okay, and then I have this, and this is cut out of a Tim Holtz die. And it's actually like a food box or something that I cut it out of, and I'm using the craft side, and I use Vintage Photo on the edge, and I'm going to put it over here on this side, and I'm just going to, you know, like I said, leave these little textured leaves kind of showing, but not really worry about the focus being on those leaves back there. So we're going to do that kind of like that. And then these also are little Tim Holtz dies, and I'm sorry, I don't know what the name of the set is. I store my dies in the little envelopes, and I don't keep the, I probably should, but I don't keep the paper part. And so I can't tell you what the name of that one is, but it's, you know, and that might even be from one of the, like the smaller ones that you can run through the Sidekick. Now that I think about it, but like I said, don't quote me because I'm not sure. And then I have pulled out several pieces from, like I said, that little snippet field notes by Tim Holtz. And I'm just going to randomly stick some of those. And then I have this little scientific plate. And that is from a kit that I purchased from, I believe it was Tracy Fox. If it wasn't Tracy Fox, it was My Porch Prints. And I will look that up when I post the video and let you know which one for sure. And I'll show you the rest of the set. It's kind of cool. And it just says plate, whatever. What is that? 100. I don't know. I haven't done Roman numerals in a very, very long time. So I'm not sure what number that is. Maybe somebody can comment. It's CXLIX. So that's 959. I don't know. And then I made this little label, and these are, this was both stamps. The label shape was a stamp, and this was a stamp. They are both Tim Holtz, and they are on one of those sets that is exclusively at Joann's that has the stencil and the clear stamps. It was from one of those. Both stamps were on the same thing. So that's what it is. And then I have just a mini clip here. So that when I put it on, it'll look like it's clipped on rather than, you know, just glued on. And let's see, I think I'm going to put the plate thing maybe here. I'm not sure about that. We'll get some of this other stuff glued down, and then I'll decide where I'm going to put that for sure. And then we're going to just do some butterflies here and there. I think I've got 3 butterflies. I'm going to do something like that. And then I've got some little mushrooms that I'm going to stick kind of here and there. Maybe one here somewhere. No, I don't like that. Maybe one up here somewhere. But anyway, you kind of get the idea, and we'll glue all this down and see if we need anything else once we have all this glued down. So let's do that. I'm going to take everything up except for this bottom layer, which we know is, oh, don't move, is going to be the cardboard and the cheesecloth. And get it into its spot first. Okay, and I'm going to use the Fabri-Tac at this point. And what I'm trying to accomplish right now is just getting everything glued down. Because once I go over it with the gel medium, it's pretty much going to set everything in place and not allow it to move, and also give it some extra protection. So, I hope everybody's having a good Saturday. I went to my grandson's football game this morning, and actually this is way too straight for me. And we got there and it was delayed by like an hour, so we were late. I was later getting back home than I had planned. And it was hot. It's only been in the 80s here today, but the sun was very hot. Toward the end, the sun was going in because we got just a tiny little shower. Okay. I think for the closer on this, I'm going to use one of those Post by Tim Holtz. But I'm going to kind of wait and see just a little bit on that and see once this starts coming together if I think that's going to fit. I'm going to take this. I don't know if you guys have one of these, but it's the tool that you use to clean your glass mat, like if you have glue on it. But I'm going to take this and I'm going to rub these down just a little bit because it'll flatten them out so that it's not so thick, but you still have the look of the corrugated cardboard on there, but it doesn't stick up as much. So that's my purpose for doing that. Okay, now we're going to put this piece here. Leave just a little bit of that showing. So we're going to put our glue here. And I know you guys are thinking, well, why did she go to all the trouble of putting those leaves on there if most of it's going to be covered up? And you're right. I could have either not covered them up, or I could have designed this cover so that they would not be covered up so much. But that's not the look I was going for, and I don't know how to explain it better than just saying that I wanted it to give depth to the cover, so that you're not just looking at what we're gluing on the surface, but you're actually looking past that. It makes it more interesting, and makes you look into the cover more, and actually, make your eyes travel to explore the cover a little bit and see what's really there, other than just looking, at the front and seeing, this bird on here and saying, oh yeah, there's a bird on the cover. So I don't know if that makes any sense or not, but I hope it does. Okay, so then we're going to place this guy because he's in the next level. Sorry, I have a glue ball on my finger. I need to get it off. And we're going to put him about right there, I think. about right there. So I'm going to kind of hold him down with my finger. I'm going to try art glue litter on this one so I can get those little stems. I think it'll work okay. If not, we'll go back and put some 3-in-1 on there. Hope I didn't just have my head in the way. If I did, I'm sorry. But I'm just gluing. A couple of those little pointies are sticking over just a tad, and we'll clip those off so that they're not going over the edge. And then we'll lift this side up and do the same thing. It's hard to believe that we're over halfway through August and heading toward the end of summer and into fall. And I'm so far behind. Got loads and loads to do. Christmas is my favorite holiday. I love making Christmas journals and tags. And I'm also going to do I've got some really gorgeous papers that I want to do some kind of tag flip journals out of. Okay, so then we're going to put our little kind of weird bird on here. And I think I'm going to glue him pretty much flat down, her, pretty much flat down on there so we're not causing too much bulk going on. And again, since we're going over that cheesecloth, I'm going to use 3-in-1. Isn't it weird how we have so many glues? To do one type of crafting, but they're needed. Oh, and I almost forgot this. I got my first gel plate the other day. I haven't opened it yet, but I do plan to open it this weekend and give that a try. I kept telling myself that I didn't need one. And yeah, I got it. I couldn't take it anymore. I've been watching some really interesting videos on gel plates, and so I had to get one so I could try it. So if you have one and you have any tips, please let me know. Louisa Heinzel with Junk Journal Art has an excellent video that she just did the other day on gel plates, jelly plates, and I watched that, and I watched a couple of others, but hers is really good. Okay, so we are to that point. Now let's do our little leaves here. Put my top on my ink. Got string on my thing there. Throw those in the trash. Okay, so I think I want one there, and these may not be where I put them originally because, you know, that's the way I am. I'll do something and then I'll decide, no, that's not really the way I wanted it, and they end up kind of different. So think I want them kind of like that. I do believe. Since that one's gone on paper, we'll use art glitter. And these I just sprayed some antique linen oxide spray, and then sprayed them with water. And then I used Vintage Photo on the edges. Get my string out from under there. That one didn't have a stem. These have been cut for a while, and so I don't know if I broke the stem off or if that really doesn't have a stem. Chances are that I broke it off when I put it up to store it. So that's why I kind of just tucked it behind there. We'll do this one this way. Okay, and I think I'm going to put this next because I want to raise it up. I'm going to put, you know, my little foam things on the back. And I also want to go ahead and do this so that I can determine where I want the mushrooms and the butterflies to go. And the main reason I'm raising this up is because I have that little clip on there, and I want that clip to actually look like that it's clipped on and not just hanging out. Since it does protrude a little bit on the back, this will help it. Okay, we're going to put it about right there. Okay, now I can decide where we want to put this, and I think I'm going to do it right here. Yep. And again, I'm going to raise it up, and I'll use my little strippy. And you can see I just put the brads through the paper. I didn't see any reason to go through the book with them. I do that quite often, just so it makes the book not have those little brads on the inside. Even though when I do go through the book, I cover them up. It's nice to not have to worry about that on the inside. Put my pen and my glue before it clogs up. Okay. Getting a little string out of the way here. And actually, that could do with another piece on that. On this end, you see, I don't know if you can see on the camera, but because this is higher than this, when you look at this, it's got a dip in it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another piece of the foam, and I'm going to put it on this end so that it'll make it not have that dip. And it'll make it more straight across. Here we go. Much better. All right. That actually could use a little bit of, it's a little too white for me. This down here is definitely too white. String that out some. Okay. All right, now we're to our butterflies and our mushrooms. And I know that I definitely want a butterfly here. And again, I think I'm gonna make those pop up. I didn't think I was gonna be able to find these little snippets locally, because when I started thinking about this journal, I was like, oh, I need the little ones. You know, these come in the full size as well, but I was like, I really need the little ones. And so I went to Hobby Lobby yesterday, and thankfully, no, I didn't. I went to Joann's, and they had them. I was thinking that they were at Hobby Lobby, but they weren't. They were at Joann's. Because I was dreading going to Hobby Lobby. I'm not a huge Hobby Lobby fan, although I do buy stuff there. I hate to go there. Okay, and we're going to put this one up here. And I think we're going to put that one there, or there. I think there. Because that makes our 3, quantity of 3, and it makes our triangle. Okay, now with 6 mushrooms, get all these little trying to work fast so you guys aren't bored to death and I make a mess when I do that. But all right, so I definitely want that one there. That's a done deal, so we're going to put it down. And my hope is, when I'm doing this journal, that I come across some really neat stuff on our property that I can kind of incorporate in here. I have already found a little bitty bluebird feather. I don't know about that one. Okay, let's put that one there. And I'm hoping I'm gonna find, we have this tree in our yard. I don't know what kind of tree it is, but it has these really gnarly looking branches, like the little branches that fall off of it. And they're so cool looking, and I'm hoping that something will fall off. Not that I want my trees to fall apart, but I'm talking little bitty limbs, not big limbs. But I would like for something to fall off so that I can get one of those little bitty branches. I think that would be cool. Can't decide where I want this one. Can you tell? And I already put glue on it. Okay, so we got here and here. All right, Timmy, land. All right. Yep. Okay. So that's what we have. I'm really liking that. And like I said, I'll go over the whole thing with matte gel medium to seal it up. Now let's put the rings in so I can show you what I'm gonna do for the rings. And most of the time I don't color these. I think I mentioned in the last video you can color them with alcohol ink. You just put them in a plastic cup and put your ink in the cup and kind of swirl it around and then dump them out and let them dry, and it will color them whatever color you put in there. So that does work really well. Okay, where did I put, there it is. I was like, where did I put the back? All right, so we are going to, and look, I put that paper on upside down. Yep, we will be replacing that or covering it. That's the worst mistake I made. I can live with that. So the rings, I just put them in, and of course, you know, all the papers will be in there. I'm just showing you this so you can see what it's going to look like when it's done. Oh, I have a funky oh, looky there. I'm gonna have to replace that one. It bent the wrong way. I'm glad I found that now. Let me see if I've got one this color up here. Of course I won't have. Look at my little tin here. And of course I don't, oh, wait. Nope. Of course I don't have another silver one in here. So we'll have to pretend that one's there, and I'll replace it when I stop the video. All right, so we'll just put this through here for the time being. And through the bottom one. Close them up. And I think I got these just at the office supply. You can buy several of them in a box. I'm sure you're familiar with them. But in case you're not. And I'm always terrified I'm going to pinch my fingers on these things. Okay. All right, so that's what we're going to have, and of course there'd be pages in between there. And then I took, here's my pile here. I took some fabric that I had that has some writing on it. And I think it's actually French or something that I had left over from some pillows that I made. And then I have some eyelash trim, which looks like this. And see, it's got that little bit of bronzy color in there. And I found this at a secondhand store, a thrift store. So I got a bag of like 4 rolls, all different colors. It was like hitting the jackpot that day. And then this is just an old pillowcase that I tore up. And then I've got some cheesecloth. And I've got some twine. And so what I will do is I will take these and tie them on. Just kind of randomly to cover these rings, and it does not affect the way that the book opens or closes. I do the same process when I make my planners, my yearly planners for people. I do make them with rings because they lay flat open and make them much easier to write in than if they are, you know, in book form. And I just kind of go through this, and I won't do the whole thing because you don't need to see me sitting here tying knots, but I will I'll do one so that you can see the one finished. And then I will finish the rest of them off camera, and I'll put a picture at the end so you can see how it turned out. But I just double tie knots until I get all the metal covered so that it's not showing. And you can do this with ribbon, you can do this with fabric, string, whatever you like. It just kind of gives it a finished look without just those exposed rings. Sorry if I'm pulling this closer to me, but it's sliding on my glass mat, and I have to keep sliding it back. So yeah, I'm excited about the gel plate. I'm excited to try it out. I may be terrible at it. To finish working on a commissioned pet portrait for Annette. Hi Annette, if you're there. I'm so enjoying drawing Monroe. He's a cutie. So I have to get that done before I can play. Work before play. And like I said, you can do, you know, whatever you want with this. I almost wish that I had kind of a yellowy, goldy, yellowy color to put on this. If I can find some, I may go back and add. Alright, so that's the general idea. And then what I would do is kind of trim them down so they're not, well, not with those scissors, it'll take me all day. So they're not crazy long. kind of like that. And also remember that when we stick the pages in, and I'll just grab the stack of stuff that I have that I'm getting prepared. You know, and it looks like this. That's going to have a lot nicer look than when it's just flat. So that is what we will do. And like I said, I'll finish putting those on there and then post a picture at the end so that you can see what the finished one looked like after I got to fix that grommet, and I have to put my matte medium on here. Now, for the pages, I have gone through and see what I mean about laying flat. It's perfect for planners because when you get your pages in there and you're flipping over and you've got your planner, it lays nice and flat. And you don't, you know, you're not trying to keep your book open to write. So that's why I like them. Okay, I went through all my little nature books and I pulled out several book pages about different things. These are about plants. These are plant sketches that I'm going to use in the book that I have tea dyed. I've got some plain, this is like drawing paper. I've got some tea dyed paper that I'm going to use. I've got some ledger paper, and you see, I'm not even worried. The more crinkled and torn, the better off. I've got this, which is, you know, the parts of a butterfly, but it's got kind of a creepy factor to it, so I'm going to put that in there. And these are actual butterflies. And we've got this one that's got kind of butterflies and moths and their eggs and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to put that. And this is from that same nature journal that is on the front and back that I now have to fix. And this is out of a nature diary that I had. I just took a few pages out of that. This is out of a bird diary, and you can see it's got handwritten notes about the different birds and the sketches of the birds. And so I'm going to put some of those in there. And then these black and white drawings of birds are in a bird book that I have, and I like the way they look. Some more plants, more birds, plants, all kinds of plants, more ledger paper. So I just went through and randomly picked some stuff that I thought would look good. Not too creepy. I do want to put some frogs, I think, and you know, maybe some other amphibious type animals or whatever. I'll have to go through and see what I have. Coffee dyed paper. I've got this, was in like one of those blank journal things, and I tore all the paper out and sprayed it down with water and ironed it. That's how I got that crinkly look to it. This is sketch paper, and I'm actually going to put it in here like this with these little things poking out. And as you can see, a lot of these are rough torn, and I wanted it that way because like I said, I want to give the appearance that this was kind of like a crazy naturalist or a nutty naturalist kind of guy, girl, whatever, that you know, just spends all this time in nature and just you know, keeps a notebook, maybe doesn't do it very neatly. And these pages that I actually ripped out, I'm leaving it like that, and I'm going to put this edge to the outside so that when it's together, and closed up that it's really rough. Do you see how that has really rough edges? So that's kind of how I want it to look. And then as far as other things that I have, I'm going to be using a lot of that little snippet kit. Like I said, when I found this on the internet, it is how to identify trees by the branches and buds. And I thought that was really cool. So I printed those out in 2 different sizes, and I'm going to really grunge that up and probably stick that in there somewhere. I have this that was left over from another project that I did, and it's just a plastic slide kind of thing, and I think they're made for scrapbooking to like put a photo in or whatever. But I put a piece of Tim Holtz vellum in there with it has eggs on it, so I'm gonna include that somewhere in here. These things, of course, that's from Edith Holden. These little labels here and these little flowers, and these things are all from that kit that I was telling you about. The printable, and then these are all from that same printable kit, and you can see they kind of look like x-rays, or what would have been on microfiche back in the time, or microfiche, however you say that. So I think they're really cool, and I think that what is supposed to happen is you're supposed to cut that center out and put these in there and make like a little slide kind of looking thing. So I was trying to find something that was made out of them, and I couldn't see anything, but I think that's the idea, is to make them look like little slides. So those were in 2 different sizes in the kit, and I think they're kind of cool. And this green will probably be the kind of greenish color that they are. Will probably be, you know, one of the main colors in the journal, along with the tan and black like we did on the cover. You know, see, that goes really well. And some of this gold color. So that'll be the main colors. I know I do have a few pages that have actual color pictures, but most of it will be fairly neutral. And then this is all that same kit. There's some more. Some kind of ticket. I think this is actually a different kit. I think I picked up 2 things. Yeah, because this is for my school journal. They got mixed up in there because it's for like taking the bus. So those don't go in there. But yeah, so that's that. And there's some little labels and stuff. So I'm excited about using those. I probably won't use them all, but. And then, of course, you know, I've got lots of bugs and birds and animals. And, you know, this big butterfly will go really well, I think. And so, that's that. And I think it's going to turn out really well. I hope so anyway. We're going to give it a shot. And, oh, here's, for those of you interested, here is the other part of that print with a little baby armadillo in there. Yeah, he was he was kind of a weird guy. And he's got some that are a lot more weird than this. But the bird to me was not too bad, so that's why I went with the bird. And I think that's going to be just really cute. I hope you like that. And I will, like I said, I'll post a picture at the end after I get all this on and everything sealed up. And until next time, I hope everybody is well and stays well. And I will see you soon. Bye.